In South Africa, I just lived with them for like a week just to see if we were compatible.
Right.
And then I moved to Belgium. And the other second thing that happened is they were moving. Actually, when I came in, they were just like moving from South Africa. So everything was in boxes. There was a box, I think it was around 50 kgs. I was really not that big on that. And he told me to carry that box upstairs and bring it up. It's 50 kgs and I was probably 60 kgs by that time, or 55 kgs. I tried to carry it, but I can't. It's too heavy for me. And he came and he carried it and he started shouting at me like, why are you so lazy? Why are you so lazy? You can't carry this box. I was working all the time. I had to work from Monday to Sunday. So it was difficult. I lost weight, a lot of weight.
A very good evening to you all, and today has really been an interesting day because I feel like it's getting more colder in Berlin lately. But anyways, we can't do anything today. Today in studio, I'm joined by a guest that actually does not live in Germany. It's a very different experience this era. Yeah. Normally, we rotate our videos all around Germany and so on, but today we're venturing into a different experience, and my guest today joins me. She originally comes from Zimbabwe, right?
Yes.
Exactly. And I'll later take a brief introduction shortly, but otherwise, I hope you enter 2026 in style, and let us know how your 2026 is going so far. Well, my name is Livingston as usual, and this is the Onlyfacts podcast. So you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here, all the way from
My
Belgium.
pleasure.
That's a flight, I'll say.
Yeah.
Kind of long as well.
Yeah.
You use train?
I came with a train.
Came with a train. How many hours are we talking about?
It was from 7 o'clock till around 6 o'clock. Yeah, 7:30 till 6 o'clock.
That's really long.
Yeah, a night train.
It's a night train.
Yeah.
Did you have some sleep?
I did.
Feel ready for the podcast?
Yes.
All right.
No, I arrived yesterday actually.
You arrived yesterday. Okay.
I arrived
So you got some time to sleep.
Yeah.
Amazing. So could you please do a brief introduction and tell us who you are, what you do in Belgium, and how you get to Belgium, maybe to start.
Okay, so I'm Rumbie Zaiza Mukudzi. I'm Zimbabwean originally and been living in Belgium for the past 6 years.
Okay.
I may say close to 6 years. I'm 32 years old. I grew up in Zimbabwe till I was 24. Then I went to South Africa. I lived there for 1 year. And then I moved to Belgium as an au pair.
Okay,
Yeah.
so as an au pair, that means you stayed in a family and helped them and so on?
Yes.
Okay, and how was the stay in Belgium?
The experience was not really good for me, if I may say. So, yeah, I stayed with a family. I met this family in South Africa, actually.
Okay.
It's a Belgian family, but then I met them in South Africa. And I was not the one who was supposed to come here. My friend was the one who was supposed to come here. And it was during their process, she got pregnant. And she referred me to the family. And that is how I ended up in Belgium. But the experience was not smooth. It was,
right.
Yeah.
So the
difficult.
family was staying in South Africa?
Yes.
But from Belgium, and there reached a time that they had to come back to Belgium, and they came with you.
Yes.
You came with them, sorry, as an au pair.
Yes. So they
on.
were living in South Africa for like 10 years.
Okay.
And then they were planning to move back to Belgium and they wanted someone to help with the kids. And that was...
Why Belgium?
I never planned to come to Belgium.
Never planned.
I never planned. And in all the countries that I would go to, I wouldn't really choose Belgium because of the language barriers. But then it was just an opportunity that came to me and I was just like, okay, why not?
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then I ended up in Belgium.
So let's start with you. We know already you. It was coincidentally everything. You just came to a family. Perhaps you didn't get that much time to get to know the family, or did you?
I think in South Africa, I just lived with them for like a week just to see if we were compatible.
Right.
And then I moved to Belgium. For me, It was just like, yeah, I'll get to learn, I get to know them, I'll get to see where it leads.
Right.
It was an opportunity for me and I just grabbed it.
All right.
Yeah.
So getting into it now. So the family has moved with you to Belgium. And so you mentioned right now everything wasn't that good. So meaning diving into some scenarios that are maybe heartbreaking. But before, I want us to understand. So you're living with a family now, and how you've arrived in Belgium. How is the experience in Belgium now?
When I arrived, when I was living with the family, it was difficult. If I may say, it was really difficult because, it's all like, especially being an African,
right,
and living with a Belgian family. What they perceive in their heads is, you're African, you know nothing, you're dumb.
right.
We can manipulate you however way we want, and you wouldn't know the rules, and that's what they think in their heads, which is quite not okay, not correct, because I knew it. Of course, when I got the contract, it was in Dutch, and I translated it to English. Of course, there are so many ways to translate a contract, and then I got to read through the rules about being an au pair. And I didn't know about au pairing, actually. When I was in South Africa, I never came across anyone who did this program. So for me, it was new. So they told me what needs to happen, what needs to be done. And I agreed.
Right.
That was, we had agreement that I would be working for them, just like a maid. That's what they said. But in actual fact, being an au pair, you have to work 20 hours.
Right.
You have to work 20 hours a week, and that's it. And you have to only to cater for the kids and work with the kids. But for them, I had to do everything. And when I read through the contract, that's when I realized they're taking advantage of me.
So you signed a contract without reading it?
The contract, you don't really, it's you get it here when you get to Belgium, actually.
Right.
You don't sign it when you are out of Belgium. So you get a contract and then you sign it, and you go to the, to the community hall, and then they give you the contract, and then you sign, and then they give you your papers, your contract, and they give one contract to the family, and that was it.
Did you have any expectations?
Oh, I didn't really have expectations per se, but for me it was just like, okay, I'm going, probably working a week and having my weekends free and everything. I didn't even know about the program, to be frank enough. But then for me, I was like, okay, maybe I'll work, I'll help the family, and then in the weekend I will be free. I will get to have my time, and that was not what ended up happening. I was working overtime. Like, the family wasn't home quite enough for their kids, so most of the weekend they were out.
Right.
So I had to work from Monday to Sunday, probably having one day off in a month.
Right.
And that was like, it was horrific for me. I didn't have enough time for myself.
Right.
And at the end, I chose to come to speak to them, to communicate with them, to have, to really talk about it, how we can have a solution for it. But then they showed me that they didn't want to communicate with me, being really violent, especially the host's father. He was really violent, even to his family. He was really like someone who was violent. At one point, I really wanted to leave. I packed my bags and I was like, I'm going. I'm done with this. And that's when my boyfriend came and they started to communicate, and they're like, I'm so sorry. And they communicated with me. They apologized. The wife actually apologized. And that's when I really get to forgive her, because it wasn't her fault. It was the husband's fault. But then the wife was really like a sweet person. She was really a nice person. And most of the time she wasn't home. She was working and the husband was always home. So we had so much communication and so much fighting with the husband, not the wife. So when the wife came and apologized and interacted with me and really assured me that it was going to change, that's when I forgave her, and then I went back to stay with them. But at the point I wanted to leave after 5 months, it was enough.
Right. So we realizing the first impression is known what you thought.
No.
You've landed in a family where everything you thought was going to be a walk in a park is entirely different. There is some verbal abuse.
Yes.
And how are you coping up with this? You have your boyfriend though on your side, I'm realizing, but how are you mentally coping up with this?
So it was difficult. I lost weight, a lot of weight during that period. Even my friend also like told me like you lost a lot of weight. It was mentally exhausting to live in that situation where you know your rights, but your rights are being manipulated. You are being abused, and that is not supposed to be like that. It was really mentally exhausting, if I may say. And I had no option, only to be strong and look for another family. So my plan was to look for another family and then I move out. But it was not really that easy to find another family.
Right.
I found a family when I was 8 months into the program, and that's when I moved out.
Did you try calling the police at one point?
I actually went to report to the community hall. That's where you have all communication. That's where we signed all the contracts. And they said they can't do anything about it. It's not their problem. I had to call the immigration, and they will resolve everything for them. They couldn't do anything about it. Right. So I had to call the immigration and let them know about everything that was happening. Right. Of which I sent an email, and I never had any reply to that. So it was just like, okay, I'm stuck here. Okay. I just have to look for another family. That's it.
So we've established there's verbal abuse and you work excessively much than you should work. What more is in there? What more awful things did you experience in this family?
So the first thing that I really experienced that was horrible, it was food. I wasn't allowed to cook. And I had to just eat the food in the house, of which the only person who would cook was the host father, and he didn't cook at all. He would cook maybe once in 2 weeks. So I had to eat bread morning, afternoon, evening, which was quite, for me, the kids also would eat the same food, if I may say. So it's actually their culture, and for them, the parents, they would go out frequently, eat in a restaurant. They could afford that. They were rich. They are millionaires. Right. And they could go out anytime they want, even every night. But for us and the kids, we were eating bread every time. And for me, it was, I'm used to eat warm food in the afternoon and in the evening. And that was not the case. And he was stingy, really stingy with the food. To a certain point that one day he called his family and we were sitting on the table and we were eating about like chicken and potatoes. And we are eating. I'm not really like someone who eats. If you know me, you would know I eat when I'm supposed to eat. And I stop when I'm full. That's it. So we are sitting with the family and the people that I don't even know. It was my first week actually. And we're sitting, all people that I don't know. We are eating. And I took one piece of chicken and I'm eating. I'm really like a slow eater. And everyone maybe was on their third piece of chicken. And I tried to take a second piece. And the host father said to me, "You like food, right?" I was like, what do you mean? Am I eating too much? Because you can't ask me if I like food. What do you mean? He had like his idea in his mind that you are African, you are starved. And he wanted that idea to get to his family, you know. I just looked at him and I was like, okay, it's my first week here and you asking me if I like food? What are you trying to say?
Right.
And for me, it wasn't really right. And the other second thing that happened is they were moving. Actually, when I came in, they were just like moving from South Africa. So everything was in boxes. So there was a box. I think it was around 50 kgs. And I was really not that big on that time. I'm actually big now. I was really tiny. And he told me to carry that box upstairs and bring it up. It's 50 kgs. And I was probably 60 kgs. By that time, I was about 55 kgs. And he told me to carry a 50 kg box. And I said, I tried to carry it. And I was like, I can't. It's too heavy for me. And he came and he carried it. And he started shouting at me, like, why are you so lazy? why are you so lazy? You can't carry this box. And I'm carrying it so easily. And it was also like in the first week that I arrived. And you are a man and you are, I don't know how many kgs are you, and you want me to carry a box that is 50 kgs.
Right.
And you're screaming and shouting at me because I said I can't carry that box. And that was it. And it was, yeah. And the thing is, if I would communicate with the wife, he would apologize. The husband would come and apologize the following morning, and then it repeats again. And he apologized. And in his mind, he's like, I would report him. And he knew if I would report him, he would be in danger. And he wanted to really like avoid that. So he's apologizing in a way to calm me down so that I won't take any step further.
Mm.
Yeah.
So in all this, did you at one point feel the need of confronting the man and telling him how you feel about all of this?
I did. I prefer communicating with someone before I take further steps.
Right.
I communicated with him. I told him whatever way, like, what you're doing to me is not correct. I know the contract. I've read the contract. I know I have to work 20 hours. And you are manipulating me. Of course, for me, it wasn't a problem to help in any ways because I didn't know anyone also in Belgium. I didn't know anyone in that place. So for me to go out, it was here and there. I wanted to go out, but not really like frequently. I would do, in our culture as Africans, you can stay home and you have to help with the family. You can't be like just sitting, and it's just a normal thing that I thought, yeah, okay, doesn't matter. I can help with anything that needs to happen here. I have been doing it for nothing, and yeah, it doesn't matter. But if you take me for a fool, you think I don't know the rules, and you want to take it extreme to the extreme, like you're manipulating me, you're making me work the whole week without any hours of holidays. I don't have any time for myself. So I confronted him, but it never really worked. All he said is apologize in the morning after we have those conversations, and that was it. But never really like reducing my workload. It was not like a thing on the table. It wasn't not offered. But just to apologize and say, yeah, I'm sorry because I said these words and I said these words, and that was it.
Was your overtime at any one point ever compensated for?
No, not at all.
Okay. And do you think all these experiences you went through had to do with the fact that you're of African descent? You're a black woman.
Definitely.
And this was indirectly racism towards you.
Definitely. If they would have another person from another country, they wouldn't do that. So the thing is, he was perceiving that I am African. I know nothing. So he have been living in South Africa and he have been manipulating. It's a culture in South Africa.
Right.
Like it's you people overwork. They want to work. They would do anything just to work because there is not enough work. So he had that mentality that, yeah, I will continue with this culture that I'm used to in South Africa. Okay. And in South Africa, they pay like peanuts. It was more the same pay that he would give me. It was even more, okay, the money that someone would get in South Africa if they had to do the same job that I was doing. But it's no longer South Africa. Every place has got rules and regulations.
Right.
And they have to be really followed. And in his mind, it's like, yeah, I'll continue with what I was doing in South Africa. I won't really lose this opportunity that I had, or this merit that I had in South Africa, though I am now in Belgium. So,
and how was your relationship with the kids? Did you get along with them?
With the kids, we were really they were really sweet kids. They were really sweet kids. If I would spend time with the kids, we were just happy walking around. I would play soccer with them. It was two boys and two young boys and one older one. The older one was in home mostly, so I was mostly with the two young ones. I wouldn't complain on anything.
Right.
I wouldn't complain on anything on the kids. They were really sweet.
And they treated you right, you would
They
say?
treated me right.
Right.
They treated me right.
So, in all these experiences, we see that the wife is a working mom. She's not at home the whole time. She comes back. You tell her all these experiences. She apologizes. Does she take any further steps apart from issuing an apology?
She always would communicate with the husband. That's what she said. And then the husband would come in and apologize. So every time I had experiences, I would talk to her. I would ask the wives, and we communicate everything. She showed remorse. She was really like remorseful and apologized. She was really a good person. And she was always intervening and trying to talk to the husband so that he would stop whatever he was doing. I saw also the husband was also doing the same thing to the wives.
Right.
So even to the kids. So it's in his nature of manipulating people. And for me, I'm not family. It was even excessive, if I may say.
So it was one single jack of a family that was making your life a living hell in Belgium.
Yeah.
So after you get out of this line of work, you look for a different job?
So I actually moved to the Netherlands after 8 months in Belgium.
Right.
And I lived in the Netherlands for like 3 months. It was really a good family. It was just for 3 months because we communicated with the family. They were bringing someone else who was going to take care of the kids. So we just communicated that it was just for 3 months, which I lived there for 3 months. And then after I went to Luxembourg, also to be an au pair. I didn't live there longer because my visa was already expiring. So we started the process a little bit late. And during the process, my visa expired and I had to go back and reapply for the au pair visa. And from there, just like when I went back, I tried to apply, but then at a certain point I said, I'm not going to do that. I had already applied for my master's in Belgium I had already applied for my master's, which I got admitted during the process. And I said, no, I'm not going to do the au pair thing anymore. I will switch to studying.
Right.
Which I came back and started studying in Belgium.
And are you working now?
Currently, I'm not working. I got fired actually last year.
Really? What happened?
Yeah. So it's a long story. So if I may talk about it, I started working in 2020 and I worked in a lab first, which I experienced racism. So I worked there for like 3-4 months and I quitted on my own.
Right.
Due to the treatment that I received there.
So which kind of treatment was it?
So I started working and I was taking over to someone who was leaving the company. So the guy taught me everything that I had to do. I wrote down everything. And I was following everything that needs to be done exactly on point. So until the guy left, I took over everything on my own. I was culturing like insects. It was a bioengineering company. So I was culturing insects. They did experiments on plants and insects or certain RNAi. They trying to fight against chemicals in agriculture. So they were trying to get an experiment to work with the DNA of insects so that they just die by cutting the DNA. And I was culturing the insects. During the process, it was going all well, no complaints, nothing. And then there's this other lady. She came after 2 months of doing everything. She came to me and said, I think the insects, the numbers are getting low, but I wasn't seeing any numbers which were getting low. You have to change the procedure. You have to do it like this, like this, like this. Me trusting too much, I said, okay, she has been working here for a long time, so I'll follow her process. I'll follow the procedure. I started following the procedure and the numbers dropped drastically. Like, just, we are not having any insects anymore.
All right.
And she went and reported me to my supervisor. Directly, she never communicated with me anything. And she said, I'm taking over the project. She had to stop. And they never communicated with me. They never really like had to hear my side. And she said, yeah, I'm taking over. So that was my main job. So it means I didn't have anything to do anymore.
Right.
Most of the time I would be right. I had documents that they had sent to me, so I would just like browse through my documents and see whatever they had done before and getting to know what was happening. And in a lab, there were utensils that needs to be washed every time. So I started like, yeah, I don't have much to do. So I started like just every day I was cleaning the utensils when I have time. I had all the time in the world. So there was a certain period that I had a lot of work to do. So they started giving me work. And when I was doing that, one day I went to the lab. I'm sitting in the lab and there's this lady, she's also sitting on the other side. She can see me, she's looking to me and I'm looking to her. I was in the lab the whole day. I was tired. So I just went to my office to check. I had to send an email to one of my colleagues. He wasn't at work. And the moment that I just went into my office and I just sat on my chair, the other lady came to me and said, why are you sitting there? You've been sitting here the whole time. The utensils are waiting for you to clean.
All right.
Okay. Then I was like, I can't do it today. I have been having a lot of work and you saw me, I was in the lab the whole time. And there was a schedule. Actually, everyone was written on when they were supposed to do the utensils. But I was doing everything all this while. And then I said, yeah, but I'm not even the person on the schedule. And now I am really busy. I can't do it. And she said, no, you have to go, stand up now and go and and clean the utensils. I looked at her like, are you really for real?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you have to go now. I said, no, I'm not going. I have been doing it because I didn't have much work to do. And you can see that I'm sending this email right now. There was an intern. Actually, she was from Italy because she had a different skin color than me. She thought she would bully me.
Right.
And leave that intern. She didn't also had nothing much to do. She was sitting in her office the whole time. They never asked her to do the utensils, to clean the utensils. But because I was how I look, they just perceived that I'm the actual right person to go and do the cleaning.
Right.
So I just throw to her like, I'm not going to do it.
Oh.
I'm not doing it. I'm really busy right now. And they came, she went and took another colleague. They came to me, they were shouting at me, you have to go right now. What do you think? And I just said to them like, what do you think I am? I have studied, I have a master's. And you think I'm the perfect person to do cleaning for you?
Right.
Are you for real?
Crazy. So we're realizing it's really a roller coaster. It's not that easy for you. But jumping a bit, would you say the job market in Belgium, does it favor people of African descent?
I think it's difficult. It's really difficult to really get a job, a good job, especially because of the language. Most people, they don't. Okay, in workspaces, it's mostly if you are in the Flemish side, you speak Flemish. If you are in the French side, you speak French. If you're in the German side, you speak German. So if you're really like someone who have been in Belgium for 3 years, you can't be speaking fluent Flemish, you can't be speaking fluent French. That is, if you're lucky enough that you are from French-speaking side, for you it will be easier to get a job. But to get any other jobs, it's easy. If you want to work in the warehouses, there is a lot of work. Right. But if you really want to go into corporate, it's difficult. It's difficult unless you speak the language. And there are international jobs, but it's still...
So it is more language oriented, that you must at least have the language knowledge.
Yeah.
And rather not on a racial basis that you will definitely get discriminated or you will definitely get segregated because you have a different skin color.
That's also a point. That's also So the thing is, you already are discriminated from your name, and you already don't speak the language. That's the second point.
Right.
So if I would really say, if you are of another skin color, it's easier than being there's racial discrimination. There's totally racial discrimination, if I may say it.
Right.
Yeah.
And does the pay, if you manage to get a job, even, does the pay still differ in terms of
Definitely
people who are white and black people?
Definitely there would be a big difference. So yeah, I wouldn't really say much, but from the job that I really worked, for being someone who have got a master's, and even getting the job that suits your qualifications, it's difficult. So you have to take anything that comes on the table. So like me, I first of all, I worked as a research person in a lab, and I also worked as an analytical service manager for another lab. So the moment you get a title that is that seems to be higher than any other person in the workplace, they don't like it. Most of the people doesn't like it. They're like, why are you getting a higher title? That was also another problem that I had from my second job. So I got this position, and then I get to work, and there was a colleague who went to my boss and said she wanted my position directly, like not being. And the thing is, they entertained her, and they had an interview for a position that is already taken. And they told her, like, yeah, go and ask her if you can share the position. Half she works your work, and half you do your work. Yeah.
Is there any good thing that you would point out that you've experienced, at least?
I think the good thing that I experienced is you can survive. You can, if you're not lazy in Belgium, you can survive. You can get a job.
So it's all about survival.
It's about survival. You can go, if you want, you can get a job in a week. There are a lot of warehouse jobs that you can physically do, but it needs you to be physically strong enough to do it, which is quite okay. You can survive. And you don't have to cling on to a toxic workplace. You can just say, I'm stopping, and then you go to a manual job. And then you can survive until you find another good job. And also, one really good thing that I am really glad about living in Belgium is the social security. The social security, there is 100% social security. If you have worked for amount of days and you have paid your taxes, if you lose a job anyhow, you get to be paid when you're looking for another job.
That's
and
amazing.
That's really a good thing. That is what I'm going through right now, as I am staying home and trying to figure out what will be my next steps. I'm being paid. And the money that I'm being paid, it's close to what I was being paid when I was working. So that's a good thing. And it really like motivates you to want to work again, and you have the social security. I think that's the most really big thing that happened to me, having to be protected, or at least anything that happened.
I want to touch on 2 points before time runs up, actually. And the first point is the social life in Belgium. Was it easy for you to get into the social friend groups or to socialize with people there and making friends, or was it a roller coaster for you?
I think I never really got any closer to any Belgian females, actually. The only person that I was close to who is Belgian is my boyfriend. And his family. I think with his family it's easy. We communicate, we understand each other. It's easy we do gatherings, we just talk, and it's easy. But with any other people, I think Uh, I never really like have any
Mm.
other relationship, any friendship with any other Belgian, especially the ladies. It's difficult to
Right.
really interact with the ladies.
Mm.
It's really difficult to interact with the ladies in in Belgium, if I may say. So the thing is, most of them, they are insecure. They are really insecure. I changed 4 jobs in 2 years, and the most problem was ladies. I never experienced any issue with a male.
Right.
From all the 4 jobs that I have experienced, I never had any encounter with a male.
Mm.
It's always from females. And mostly if you look into it, why are they so like rude, cruel against black females?
Mm.
It never happens also to black males. I've never really had any experiences like that. That happen to black males.
Mm.
If you look into black males, they stay in jobs. They don't get fired. They keep their jobs.
Right.
They do it to black females.
Mm.
And,
Please.
and most of the times, if you look into it, it's females with insecurities.
Mm.
They don't really take good care of themselves.
Right.
You wouldn't see any good looking woman taking care of herself doing the same thing. It's always people who they don't take care of themselves. They don't have the energy to do that. They don't want to do that.
Mm.
And they see a black female who is strong enough, who is intelligent, who takes care of herself. And if you get to work and you are a black woman, and everyone else will notice you so easily.
They feel
And as black women, we are social.
Mm.
You smile to everyone that is passing around you. They don't do that. And then everyone else will get to know you. Everyone else is commenting about you.
Mm.
And it really like rips off their, I don't know, their self-confidence, and they don't want
And
you.
they feel threatened by you.
They feel so much threatened. They feel so much threatened, and they would
Right.
do anything, lies after lies, just for
Get
you
you
to
down.
go out.
Right. Crazy. That's a different experience. And my last point would be, because we're really running out of time right now, that is the dating life. How would you describe the dating life in Belgium?
I had, a number of experiences of dating in Belgium. I think I have been with my current boyfriend for like 6 years, but during that, we had 1 year that we were separated. We were not
Right.
together. Yeah. So most of my experience is with him. And I think, to be fair enough, I never really had bad experience with him, like racial discrimination or anything.
Mm.
It surfaced once when we were really new living together in that. You could see that there is something that is coming out that is really pointing to my race.
Mm.
And I talked about it. I told him that this needs to stop. You don't do this, and you don't do this. And it stopped. And then from there, I also had 2 other relationships after that. Like the time we were not together, I had a relationship with another guy, and it was exhausting. It was exhausting. He was taking medicine for depression, which I wouldn't really recommend. If you hear that someone is really in a bad way, in a bad shape, and you think you would change them, don't do that. So it was really exhausting. He would scream in the streets and do all kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And at the end I said, I have had enough. And I had also another relationship with another guy. He was mature enough, a lawyer, and you would think, he's a lawyer. He's educated. But deep down, you get to really experience the relationship, and it was really terrible.
Right.
It was really terrible. He was someone who sought attention, too much attention from other people. He would, I think, I didn't understand what he was exactly. He wanted too much attention. He wanted to be loved. And where he was seeking the love from, it was really not the right place.
Right.
To a certain extent that he was hosting a woman, she was like 55 years old, the woman from, I don't know which country she was from. She had to come to Belgium and they had to sleep in the same hotel room.
Right.
And yeah, that was crazy. That was really crazy. And he never told me about it. I had to discover it myself that he was asking another lady from another country and coming to Belgium, and they were sleeping in the same hotel room. And he was saying like, we didn't do nothing with the woman. We did nothing, just like sleeping. I couldn't book my own hotel room.
No.
But you are a lawyer and he was staying with his parents. Actually, you're not paying rent, you're not buying food, your parents are doing everything for you, and you can't afford to book your own hotel room.
Yeah, that's
so it was it was just like that. But otherwise, I have had a lot of deaths, during the period that I was not with my boyfriend. And I would say most of the people, they want to experience being with a black woman. So most of the people is they just want to be with you for the experience.
Right.
They just want to understand what is it like,
what it feels like
to be with a black woman.
Right.
And yeah, that's it. They want to just take you to bed. And that's it. And if you're not careful, you will end up sleeping with every other man that you go on dates with, because they first day come to my place, and what will happen there? They sleep with you
together,
and tomorrow they disappear, and that's it. So if you are not careful, you end up sleeping with the whole world, and they don't want you. They just want, they're in for the experience.
Right.
They are just told like, yeah, black women, they are so good in bed, and
stereotyped.
That's it. So they just want to experience it.
Right.
And if they find out like, yeah, it's just the same as my white girlfriend that I had,
they move on. They're
gone.
Wow. It has been a heated experience. And my last question would be for a yes or no. Do you see yourself in future in Belgium?
No.
Well, with that is a conversation that can never get that we could never end actually. And if you feel like there are questions there we haven't really touched, let us know in the comment section. Well, perhaps we could arrange a second episode of this. It's been a heated conversation here, and if there is more that you would really want to know from our side that you feel like we haven't touched, please let us know, and we will find a way to rearrange that and get that delivered to you. But from my side, I want to let you say 3 words to the audience, your last words, so that we can wrap it up.
So thank you everyone for being there. It was nice being here with you. Hope to see you next time. There will be next time. So bye.
All right. And from my side, we've been Onlyfacts podcast. Like, subscribe, share to your friends. Let us know in the comment section what you think. It has been a wonderful episode, and catch you on the next segment. Bye-bye.